Hello beautiful people, happy Friday and welcome to your practical application of astrology and personal story share. And this is my third or fourth time trying to record this video, so I really hope that this time it will be a success. There are a lot of moving parts going on around me, a lot of noise, and also a lot of other things are in place. So yeah, let's just take it from there. And my astrological forecast for next week will be recorded and coming out either tomorrow or on Sunday. I cannot really predict when I'll be able to record it, but the intention is there, so stay tuned. So before we dive in, let me just name the aspects that they were taking place this week, throughout this week, and are still taking place, and then we dive in. So we entered the week with Moon in the sign of Pisces, and then Moon moved into the sign of Aries on Monday morning. Then on a Tuesday early morning, or still Monday night for some of you, Mars moved into the sign of Aquarius, and Venus made her final sextile to Neptune, which is all about moving into Aquarius, new cycle. And Venus sextile in Neptune. Neptune is about endings. This is a final sextile. It was a final sextile between Venus and Neptune, which is preparing for the conjunction. And Pisces is all about closing, about endings. That's where Moon was when we entered the week. This is a week of endings and new beginnings happening simultaneously. And then on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Mars made its first conjunction to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, which has begun a new cycle of conjunction between Pluto and Mars that will be taking place in Aquarius for the upcoming 20 years. And this has ended the past 15-year cycle conjunction in the sign of Capricorn between Mars and Pluto. So very different energy. On the same day, on Wednesday the 14th, Moon moved into the sign of Taurus. And then on Thursday, which was yesterday, Mercury made its final sextile to Chiron and its final sextile to North Node. Mercury will conjunct both in March, but Mercury will actually make 3 conjunctions to Chiron throughout from March to May, because Mercury will have its next retrograde in Aries. And of course, Chiron and North Node being in Aries are both ruled by Mars. An important thing to actually note is that Moon was in a sign of Aries, also ruled by Mars, when Mars made a conjunction to Pluto, and now Mercury is making his final sextile from Aquarius to Chiron and North Node in Aries, whereas Mars is under this influence of this new phase conjunction to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So everything is connected. Then today, which is Friday, Venus just moved into the sign of Aquarius about an hour ago. And later on today, Moon will move into the sign of Gemini, which is all about the choice. And then later on tonight, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, will make its final square to Uranus. Mercury is currently ruled by Uranus, same as Venus, Mars, and currently still Sun, because they are all in the sign of Aquarius. And Mercury is squaring Uranus. This is the last quarter square, which is the crisis and consciousness, which is telling us about something that needs to be released in order for the cycle to end and the new cycle to get, so the new cycle can begin. And actually, just a funny fact that when Pluto and Mercury had a conjunction last week, Moon was in the sign of Sagittarius. So you can see Moon is just all in these masculine signs in the sign of Sagittarius, which is all about this expansion and growth. And now when Mars made a conjunction to Pluto, it was in the sign of Aries, all about new direction and this new passion and inspiration to go into this new direction that will lead to new horizons. And then tomorrow, Venus will have her conjunction to Pluto, which again, same as with Mars, it will close the cycle of the conjunctions between Venus and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Venus had her last conjunction with Pluto in the Capricorn in January 2023, January 1st. So that cycle is ending now tomorrow, but also the cycle of all the previous conjunction between Venus and Pluto is ending also, and a new cycle of 20 years conjunction between Venus and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius is beginning tomorrow. And this is under influence of Moon being in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is all about choice. It's up to us based on how we identify reality, what experience are we going to be having, right? So this is for tomorrow, and then on Sunday, Mercury will make a trine to Vesta, and then on Sunday night, Monday morning, depending where you are in the world, Moon will move into the sign of Cancer, which is a cardinal sign, new beginning, and shortly after, Sun will move into the sign of Pisces. So there'll be the trine between the two of them straight away, because Cancer and Pisces are both water signs. Water signs, they trine each other. And therefore Pisces season will begin as of Sunday night, Monday morning, depending where you are in the world. Okay, so we can see that that we started the week with Moon in a sign of Pisces, and we're gonna end it with the Sun in a sign of Pisces, which is all about letting go and releasing, and what are we allowing to be gone in order for something new to come in. And as you can see, my hair is also gone. I had to make a decision to let my hair go, yeah. Interestingly enough, the last time I had to cut my hair short was exactly 2 years ago, exactly after my visit in Mexico. And another interesting fact, because we just had the Valentine's Day, didn't we, on Wednesday, on the day when Pluto made a conjunction with Mars. My last relationship with my twin flame actually had begun and since ended, but had begun around the time of that conjunction, the last conjunction between Mars and Pluto and Venus, and Pluto and Mars and Venus together, because it all happened at the same time on the 3rd of March, and then last Mars and Venus conjunction happened on the 6th of March 2022, and we're just going to have another one next week on the 22nd of February, so again 222, so all these twos. But anyway, that's just a fun fact, because I think it's hilarious how we can really see, when we retrospect in our real life, in our individual life, how these cycles really are showing up. So as I said, for me in 2022, that was the year where everything completely changed for me, which I obviously wouldn't have foreseen at the beginning of that year when I met my twin flame, and we started dating, and I kind of like became really together around the time of the last conjunctions between Pluto and these personal planets. So that definitely represented a new cycle. But as I mentioned in my last astrological forecast, actually the second of the two conjunctions between Mars and Venus in 2022 already happened in the sign of Aquarius on 0 degrees and 2 minutes. So that was already a seeding of this energy which we find ourselves in right now, which is just being renewed because of the, again, these new conjunctions between all these personal planets and Pluto. But now everything is happening in Aquarius, because Pluto is here to stay in the Aquarius for 20 years, even though, as I keep mentioning, it will have one more retrograde into Capricorn in September. But mostly this year already holds the flavor of Pluto in Aquarius, because that's where Pluto is mostly for 9 months of the 12 months. So this week, apart from the fact that everything outside of me is so unpredictable that I have no other choice than literally just to surrender to it and go with the flow, and all these plans and hopes and wishes and dreams and wishes for what I want it to be and how I want things to play out had to be let go of. I was meant to go whale watching yesterday, and the weather here in Mexico has been really challenging. Like, if I want to put a label on it with the polarity, it's been awful. We had an awful rain for about past 3-4 days. It's been cold, literally unseasonably cold for this time of the year, and the weather has been very much like in England here. Which is exactly why I left England, so it's interesting. And this again is showing us that, well, don't get too tied up to how things used to be, even with regards to weather and climate and certain parts of the world where we have certain expectations that, oh yeah, winter in Mexico, of course, it's gonna be nice and sunny and warm. Well, not anymore, seriously. So yeah, so my whale watching had to be postponed, and I don't even know when am I going to experience it, because the weather keeps changing all the time and is very unpredictable, just like everything is in the world, because these are kind of a champagne problems, aren't they? You know, like, oh yeah, I can't go whale watching because the sun is not shining, whereas there are a lot of much more challenging things happening in the world right now. But I'm just bringing this very petty example to help people understand how the things that we were used to and holding on to and counting on are no longer there. They just no longer there. Like now we are starting these new cycles between all the personal planets and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius under the influence of Moon in a masculine signs, the Sagittarius, Aries, and now Gemini, which is all telling us about new direction of seeing reality differently, experiencing reality differently, which is going to lead us to expansion, right? So this is what I've been definitely contemplating throughout this week, alongside also with Valentine's Day and all the relational topic that's been coming up for me in my consciousness anyway. Just like I mentioned in my last practical application of astrology, when I was saying about the people, well, the person that I was in communication with, which I thought potentially might have been a potential for a romantic encounter. And it wasn't, and I had to very quickly make the discerned decision of where is this going, and am I wasting my time, essentially, even though we know that no time is ever wasted and never and nothing is ever an accident and coincidence, and everything is here to teach us a lesson. But how many times do we need to keep repeating the same lessons, right? Like we get to the point in our life where we go like, okay, I understand what this is about and I don't need to have this experience again. And apart from that, actually, I let some other people go out of my life this week, which were cycles that's been ever going for past few years. And and I just came to realization that, okay, I'm ready to let this cycle go. I'm ready to close it. So there were in other people that I just allowed to exit my life, not like from the physical plane, but from my personal experience, because people, myself included, with my fixed energy and being Taurus sun, we are so afraid to let things go. We are so attached to things because we are afraid that there will be nothing to replace it and nothing new will come in, and maybe the new will not be as good as the old, which through life and life experience we actually usually find out, most likely, well, that's what I found out anyway, that it's not the case, that very, very often the things that replace the old things and the people that replace the previous people are much more in alignment, right? Which is like what I was talking about in my last video. They are much more in alignment with who you are now, because as we keep growing and changing, people around us will keep changing too, and also the environments, which is why so many people might feel like unhappy and stuck in their lives, because if they change and grow and evolve, but their environment doesn't change, their job doesn't change, the people around there don't change, and their behavior doesn't change, then we feel like, okay, well, I'm kind of stuck here or something. So I definitely have been processing this throughout this week, and also the awareness of how everything is shifting and changing outside of me so rapidly, and without me having much of a control of what's going on in this outer realm, like weather and internet and noise around me and the usual things that you can you can expect in Mexico, which is expect the unexpected, right? And being learning to be at peace with it, which is something that I really struggle, because the ego is like kicking the fuss, like, but this is how I want it to be, this is how I expect things to be, and how I expect them to do them at this time and doing this and stuff. And I feel that this is really a learning opportunity, well, at least for me, to realize that, well, this is not how the world is going to be operating from now on, especially with all these new conjunctions in Aquarius. Aquarius is unpredictable. I mean, Uranus is in Taurus, which even more is making the things that we are attached to and fixated on, is making them unpredictable. And like I said, Mercury is just about to have a square with Uranus later on tonight. And Mercury is how we identify reality. So we can either identify reality through the attachment to this is how it always was and this is how it is, so now it's not like that, so now I'm suffering and I'm getting all upset about it. Or we can just go and expand and look at situations differently, which is why I was even thinking like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to record this video today, maybe I'm just pushing myself in the wrong time, who knows? I mean, Venus is in a sign of Aquarius, but the conjunction between her and Pluto hasn't happened at the time of me recording this, and Moon still is in a sign of Taurus, which is all about me being attached, like, no, I need to make it today because I don't know tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I go well watching, maybe the weather will be better, who knows. And all these attachments to the past, all this attachment to how things were before and how we expect them to be, and we expect them to be the same going forward, and they're not gonna be. So just based on what I've been observing this week in my life, and even the things how they happening very quickly, even with my haircut, it was like one day I meet my friend and she say, oh yeah, like I can arrange this for you, because obviously I don't speak no Spanish. And then suddenly 2 days later I have a haircut, right? And it's like, that's what I mean, instant manifestation. Things are happening so quickly, they are manifesting so quickly, and a lot of things that we are wanting to manifest, like we are attached to, and like, this is what I want, this is how it has to be, they're just not there. So it's kind of like literally this week I feel like universe is playing tricks. Universe is playing tricks, and kind of like, okay, how are you gonna respond to this? How are you going to react to this new situation of unpredictability, that things are actually not what they used to be, and going forward, every time we might expect something or might make plans, it might not necessarily go that way. And it's just this letting go, it's just this releasing and surrendering to the situation, and just having this unconditional trust of our soul and higher self, that we will be led and guided exactly where we need to go, and the things will be taking place and happening exactly when they are meant to be happening and taking place. Because even like this is the same thing with anything, with relationship, with jobs, with opportunities, with me making videos, I suppose, that when the time isn't right, where there is no right alignment, then things are just not going to be flowing. And when they're not flowing, then maybe that's not when they're supposed to happen. So say she, who is still trying to record video today. But yeah, it's just been very interesting. I mean, I know that there's been things going on in the world, which, as I keep mentioning, I don't watch news, so I am completely not aware of anything most of the time, because while I'm in Mexico, usually I am in my little bubble, in my little cocoon of focusing on my Plutonian inner work and transformation, and trying to shed the layers that are not mine, that don't belong to me, and I don't wish to carry with me forward into wherever we heading, because that's another topic which keeps popping up and I keep sharing all the time, which is that we are really living at the times where we have the opportunity to let go of the past. We can burn the old karma, the unhealed wounding of the ancestors and inner child and collective, and all the rest of it that is showing up for us in our individual and collective experience right now. And this is the opportunity to really transmute it and let it go. And as I mentioned, we are entering into Pisces season at the end of the weekend, on Sunday night, Monday morning. For most people it will be Monday morning already, but we are entering into Pisces season, and this will be with moon in the sign of Cancer, which is all about new beginnings. And because Cancer is cardinal sign, but Cancer is all about our emotional safety and security. That's why, as I keep mentioning, Cancer and Capricorn, they come as a pair, because Capricorn is the material safety and security, having these things around us that makes us feel safe and secure, or give us a certain sense of stability and solidity, which with the Saturn obviously being the sign of Pisces is no longer the case, not to the extent we were used to. And that's what I mean, that I literally feel, especially this week, that I'm living in some kind of like a twilight zone, that the world, I can, and I mean, I've been mentioning these experiences before, where I look around myself and I feel like, oh yeah, the world is, it's still kind of there, like I can still see my dream catchers and my crystals and everything, it's in its place, but the energy is not, like, I mean, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but when I look around myself, things are there, but now obviously with the changing weather patterns, and I'm sure this is the case everywhere from the people that I've spoken to in different parts of the world, but here in Mexico is, also happening. this is something that I can actually see and observe. I'm experiencing it, I can feel it on my skin and stuff like that. But there is also this energy, that's seeping through this week, and I feel this is all, of course, to do with this conjunction that we are having between personal planets and Pluto, and these new phases that are beginning these new cycles of the upcoming 20 years conjunction. And this was the first one between Mercury, Pluto, Mars, Pluto, and Venus, Pluto. This is the first one. The first one is like the Aries quality, right? Which is this like, oh, well, we don't know where we're going. We don't know what this is going to look like 5, 10, 15 years from now. No idea, we just have to surrender to it, and then just do the best we can with the consequences of the manifestation, right? Because we don't exactly know what are we creating at the moment, because it's just one step in front of the other, and there is all this energy that is being present, but it's not tangible. It's not something that we can like hold in our hands. It's like I'm seriously, I'm really struggling how to explain this, because it's so much that I can feel and how I'm experiencing it, but to put it in the words, it's like literally more and more the words are failing to try to describe these experiences. So in an outer reality, there are still things that are kind of standing and in a place, but things are becoming very unpredictable. Even the things that are kind of solid and always been there, like good weather in Mexico, right? This is not the case anymore, just in case anybody is jealous. This is not the case anymore. So you can feel better about being wherever you are. But also is these feelings inside of us, which at least for me, that I'm feeling that, well, but nothing is what it was before. Like there is this energy which I cannot really like, it's like a perfume that I can smell it, but I can't see it, and it's just like eluding me, right? So I can feel that there is this big shift happening, but because it's not manifested yet, it's just like fleeting. It's like, okay, it's here, then it's not there, then it's here, then it's not there. And, all these crazy dreams and ringing in the ears, which I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing. So it's definitely something is happening, like all these attunement and upgrades and all these like energies are streaming through this, as, I named cycles are ending and beginning. And this is all preparing us for the now upcoming full moon in Virgo, which will be taking place in a week's time on 2/24/2024, which is the magical number. And just before that, Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is going to be in Pisces. Therefore, it's going to be happening in conjunction with the moon, right? Because the sun, in opposition with, well, the moon will be in Virgo. So Mercury will be opposing the moon. Mercury will be conjuncting the sun. Okay, yeah. Because Mercury is moving into Virgo just before the full moon in Virgo, and Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and Virgo and Pisces are in opposition. So this is again an illumination of the process that started for us in the middle September, and middle September we had Mercury like retrograde. I believe Mercury was literally stationed in direct right after the new moon in Virgo. So there is so much reevaluation and go over and overthink, and just the fact that Mercury will have 3 conjunctions with Chiron in Aries, and Chiron and North Node are going to have a conjunction now on Monday, which is what I'm going to be covering in my upcoming astrological forecast. And then Mercury will hit Chiron 3 times. And this is all about this. We need to see things differently. We need to perceive reality differently. We need to think about things in a different way. Like it's all this multidimensionality where nothing is just taken at the face value. So for example, I've been really struggling to be polarized with regards to this weather situation, because I really don't like rain. Okay, and I know that I'm just like casting spells here and stuff and reprogramming my programming. So if I go based on my ego will tell you, I hate rain, I hate being cold and wet, I don't like gray skies, it makes me depressed, which is the reason why I left England, and which is the reason why for half of my time of living in England I worked on the cruise ships, and I was being very conscious how I planned my contracts to avoid winter. Like I rather stayed on the ship for 9 months just so I didn't have to be back for winter time. So anyway, so when I look at it at the face value, this is what I will tell you. I don't like this weather, it sucks, it shouldn't be happening, right? It shouldn't be happening, come on, like it's mid-February, why there is a cold and rain in Mexico, right? But then when I look at it from the multidimensional level, I'm like, okay, well, why this is happening? Of course, there is a learning in that. So the learning in this situation is, well, don't get so attached to anything, because that thing is not yours to be attached to. So for example, with the weather, like, yes, we could go into weather manipulation conversations, but even if we just look at it from the perception of nature, well, nature decides, nature decides what weather there is. Nature decides if there is an earthquake or anything. If we remove the human factor, which I know is very present these days, but if we try to look at it just from the natural perspective, the nature will decide when nature wants what it wants it to be, right? And then the other thing is, so one is the thing of the attachment. I believe that let's not be too attached to the past, because the past is not present. The past is part of where we are now because it got us where we are, but like, it's not necessarily going to be the same going forward. The other thing is that, okay, well, why there might be a rain? Well, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I cannot just, because like I was sharing in my previous videos, 1 week I couldn't go out, and the next week I went out too much, and then I felt tired. Either way, there was imbalance, right? So I feel like, okay, well, because it's a bad weather, right, and I don't like going out and getting wet, I am indoors. Well, now I have the opportunity to potentially, do more meditations, do more journaling or channeling or whatever. So what is the, like, because when we look at the situation, like I was mentioning many times with regards to what's going on in the world, we can just look at it at the face value and say, this is bad, this shouldn't be happening. Just like, in my little microcosm, which I know it's pathetic in comparison, but I look at the weather and I said, this is bad, this shouldn't be happening. It's ruining my plans. I was meant to go and do whale watching yesterday, right? And, I could, but I didn't want to get wet, so I didn't go. And then, on the other side of the coin is like, okay, what is the learning with it? I already said that I believe it's about the adjustments and surrendering, being present in the moment. Okay, well, like, let's not make big plans, and because the plans can be always changed, and how we're going to adjust, how we're going to respond to the situation. And then what is the deeper meaning in this? Like I said, perhaps I need to slow down. Perhaps there are other things I need to focus on. Perhaps I need to be grateful for whatever I do have rather than wish for what I don't have. So there are so many learning opportunities in every single situations, and I'm bringing forward this very petty example because this is in a microcosm and in our everyday reality thing that can happen all the time. Somebody cuts you out in traffic or takes over your parking space, or you go to the grocery store and they don't have that one thing that you wanted, which also happens here very often. So these things we are so attached to, so rigidly attached to, and our happiness and joy depends on them. They might not be there anymore, or they might not be there when we want them to be there, and they might not be there in the exact shape and form what we expect them to be there like. So then how we are going to adjust to these situations? Are we just going to let it to ruin our day? Like for me, am I just going to let it to ruin my day, and I'm just going to get depressed and feel miserable all day because I wanted to do something which I, can't do because of A, B, C, and D? Or are we going to make the lemonade of the lemons? Which one is it? So this is what I feel, that this entire week, it's kind of like potentially a prelude to what to expect, in these upcoming months of this Aquarian energy, while Pluto still is in the sign of Aquarius before it moves back into Capricorn in September. There will be a lot of unpredictability. There will be a lot of things that will be happening unexpectedly, because Uranus as the ruler is expect the unexpected. As of now, when Venus is in the sign of Aquarius, she has a mutual reception with Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of the Aquarius and Venus is the ruler of Taurus. They have mutual reception. They are affecting each other, and as we know, Venus is the South Node ruler, which was the resolution node to everybody squaring the nodes throughout last year and this year. And I keep forgetting to mention the new moon in Capricorn was squaring the nodes. The new moon in Capricorn was the skip step, the very first lunation of this year. And I already talked about the significance of all these lunations in Capricorn, about taking the responsibility, becoming our own authority and conscious creator of the reality we want to be experiencing. So even in the Eastern teachings of yoga, they said that, well, pain is inevitable because it's part of life. Pain is one of the emotions which you are going to experience 100% being human, because it's part of life. Now, suffering is optional. Then suffering depends on how you identify a situation. What is the story behind it? What is your truth that you keep telling yourself with regards to the situation? So with regards to my situation, I can look at it a million different ways, and I can either stay in a funk and be upset about it, or I can say, okay, well, what can I do instead? Or what this, like suddenly ending up with a day off, what is this allowing me to do instead? Because now I have a time, right? Or whatever. So that's what I mean. There are multiple opportunities to integrate this Gemini aspect of our experience, which is this multidimensionality, multiplicity. There is never just one way of looking at things. So that's why, interestingly, with Venus making a conjunction to Pluto tomorrow, will be under influence of Moon in the sign of Gemini. And the conjunction between Mars and Pluto, Mars as the ruler of the North Node, happened under influence of Moon in the sign of Aries, also ruled by Mars. And now Venus, the rule of the South Node, that which we are resolving and having to release, right? Because it always will be part of us, but it doesn't have to be part of your future. If you learn, if you choose that I learned this lesson, I don't need to experience this anymore, it doesn't hold a meaning, it doesn't have a purpose for me, because I already graduated from that point, right? So with the Gemini, it's all about the choice. Like I keep saying, Gemini is all about the choice. It's the Lover's card in Tarot, which is the number 6, balance. Based on your choice and the way you identify the situation, you can either find yourself in balance or in balance, whichever it is. So again, when I tell you about the things that's happened for me this week, which, yes, there are all these conjunctions for me personally, as I keep repeating, because I am a fixed sign person with a lot of fixed planets, and everything going through Aquarius is squaring my Taurus and my Scorpio, which is where majority of my planets are, in Scorpio and Taurus. And everybody exiting Aquarius is going to square my Mars. My Mars is on 29 degrees of Taurus. My Saturn is on 26 degrees of Scorpio. So I have all these squares happening from every single direction that are creating so much pressure right now in my life, that are supporting me in making a different choice, of what am I attached to, what am I valuing, what am I identifying, which way, or what is the story behind it. Is it my story? Is it someone else's story? Is the story outdated, or is it something that's going to be supporting me going forward? And it's the same with every aspect of my life. It's not just about this, how I do things on everyday basis. It's like I mentioned, my relationships, the way I relate to people, the way I either want to keep people in my life and justify their behavior or make excuses for them, or just let them go with love and gratitude without pointing fingers and making stories about the other person. Because, what is that helping, right? So this is like when we make stories about situations and people and anything, and we try to make ourselves better by like making a story that is a negative about this other aspect of our experience, but it's not really helping everything. So isn't it just better, like again, everybody is having their own experience, and like I keep saying, not everything is acceptable, and it's important to set boundaries. But when I can see with what I'm experiencing currently and have been experiencing, since I've been here, especially when I can see that things are not working, then it's my opportunity to correct that. It's correct the situation, put a boundary there, and not boundary like, okay, this is it, like here is the wall, you can't get through it, but say like, okay, I'm defined, because a boundary and definition, it's all Capricorn, it's all Saturn. So I can just define that, okay, well, now I'm deciding that this is not what I want to be experiencing anymore. This is the pattern of the past, which I like to remedy, or, I've grown now, so I can let it go, whatever it is. And therefore, I create a space for a new experience to come in. And this is where I feel that many of us are struggling, especially with this Uranus, that squared that new moon in Aquarius we had last week, because it was the crisis in action, which is wanting us to make change. There is no coincidence we had a new moon in Aquarius, and then all this is happening after, this conjunction between Mars as the ruler of the North Node and Pluto, and Venus as the ruler of the South Node, and Pluto literally, within a week of the new moon in Aquarius that was squared by Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of everything that's going on in Aquarius, and now Venus as the ruler of the South Node, that at the time of new moon in Aquarius was squaring the nodes. Now Venus is in Aquarius, also ruled by Uranus, and they have a mutual reception, because Venus is the ruler of Uranus, while Uranus is in Taurus. So what is this actually? What does this mean in a human life? You know, Uranus being in Taurus is literally fracturing our everyday reality of what we are attached to, because we thought that it held a meaning. We thought, yes, this is what I observe, therefore this is what I want and need, and this holds a value to me. And now, based on all these unexpected and unpredictable situations which we are experiencing, all of us, and for me, it's just this petty situation with the weather or internet, you know, internet being really not reliable here at the moment because of the weather. So all this is giving us an opportunity to decide, okay, what is important, what matters, you know, like what are we attached to, what are we holding on to, is this actually serving us or not? And like I said, this is also transferring into relationship with the others, because this is your relationship to yourself, where you can have a conversation with yourself about how you experience in everyday reality. But then you know, this is your relationship just with yourself, and then expands to relationship to other people, you know, not just the environment, but to actually other human beings. And then again, with this Uranus, unexpected situations might be happening where we have the opportunity to redefine and say, okay, is this working for me? Is this not working for me? Is this in alignment with who I am? Who am I becoming? Or whatever. And also a lot of things that's been popping up for me, and also in the channeled message that I just wrote, was about this being present, like being able to be present and just focus on what's going on right now, which is so difficult because we continuously either are stuck in a past or stuck in a future, you know. But like, it's very hard for most of us to be like in a present moment. And that's another thing which this weather is making very present, right? Especially if you are caught in the rain, you really feel it, you know, you really feel it. If you're wet and if you're uncomfortable and all cold and stuff, you can really feel it. You cannot like just check out and go like la 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 la, but you know, it's like, it's much easier when like it's nice comfortable weather. If it's any kind of extreme, even if it's too hot, you know, then we can feel it very well. And it makes us present, it makes us right here, right now, and it says like, okay, yeah, I feel this all right, you know. So this is the one thing that also has become very prominent, which is like all these continuous. And I actually notice myself doing that when I suddenly had this time, because I was planning to do something different. I had my schedule, I had my plan and stuff, and that thing suddenly wasn't available to me. I suddenly end up like, okay, I have a time. What am I going to do with it? And then this natural, I mean, it's not natural, but it had become natural in our society these days. This immediate response, like, okay, let me go and check my emails, let me go on social media, let me go and this, you know, like this distraction, this continuous distraction, just like not to sit with myself, you know. How about I just sit and stare at the wall or stare at something, you know, like, you know, it's just so hard for us just to sit and do nothing, just to sit and, you know, just be with ourselves, be with our thoughts. And how are we ever going to get to know ourselves or discern about situation or come up with the choices and solutions that are right for us if we don't do that? Because otherwise we continues just in this reactive mode, like, okay, let me react to that and let me react to that, and you know, and there are always new opportunities and possibilities that show up for us in our life. We attract to give us the, you know, that grant us the permission to change the pattern, to graduate from that experience into a different experience, to create a space, because everything is always cyclical. Things have to end for new things to begin. New things begin once the things end, even though there are multiple cycles happening simultaneously on the top of one another. But at the moment, when it comes to microcosm, we need to create the space. We need to create the space for these new things to come in, to really take a hold. And they are already happening behind the veil. They are already happening. We might not see them manifested yet, but they're already being seeded. And that's why at the same time, we are having to resolve these patterns of the past. And that's why I feel that all these unexpected experiences from the outer world are happening to force us into being present in this moment, and deal with what is right there in front of us. Because otherwise we can just go escaping it, like trying to check out by, distracting myself and telling myself that, okay, all this needs to be done now and stuff, rather than just like, okay, well, maybe I can just lie down and meditate or take a nap or something, you know. But there is always something that needs to be done, something else that needs to be done, and there will always be more to be done. So it's not like, you know, you ever get to the top of your list and be like, okay, I'm done now for everything, you know. There is always more things to be done. So that's why it's so important more and more to, you know, like to create this time for ourselves, to be present with ourselves, and to have the opportunity to really think about situations, just like with me and the weather. Like, okay, my initial reaction is this irritation and even anger, you know. And why am I angry? Why am I irritated? Oh, because things are not going my way. Why do I want things to go my way? Because it makes me feel safe and secure and like I'm in control. But there are certain things we can control and certain things we can't. And as many of us heard many times, the only thing you can control is your response to things. You cannot always control the things outside of you or people and their behavior, which is another factor. When we try to control people, right, we try to change them, or we want them to do something that we want them to do, or I mean, I don't know, whatever. And then if they don't do it, we get upset, or if they're not the way that we want them to be, we get upset. But everybody has the right to have their own human experience in whichever way they need to have it. Like, who am I to judge somebody else's experience? And then it's up to me to decide if I want to be present in that experience or not. You know, this is where we put the Capricorn hat on and decide for ourselves that, okay, is this something that is in alignment with who I am, and do I want to be present with this person in this experience or not? And you decide, you know. And then all this conditioning comes in about being a nice person and you know, giving people chance and whatever. But like I said, with this another person that I had to let go out of my life this week, it was like, yeah, well, not everything is acceptable, and people have right to be who they are, and people are not going to change. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. But you know, if you can observe a pattern with someone, and this pattern is not really something that is in alignment with who you are, and it's been going on for years, then you know, it's likely that it's not going to change, not anytime soon. And then it's up to you to decide, do I want to keep suffering through experiencing this pattern or not? And then, like I said, many of us are afraid that, okay, but what if there will be nothing to replace this person or this situation or this thing or whatever it is? And there always is something. There always is something. And it's to be brave to choose you. You know, I always keep saying this. You always have to choose you. You always have to choose what you feel is the right thing for you, because nobody else is going to do it for you, you know. And then if we externalize our power, then we always will be at the mercy of that other person, right? Which is also with this, you know, there's few things that I am aware of that's going on, like with this, you know, technological advancement of putting chips in people's heads and stuff, which is, again, it's so interesting to me to observe, because it's the same energy, it's just playing in a different shape and form. The pattern of the past is presenting itself of this externalizing your power to something, even if it's a chip in your head, it doesn't matter, right? But it's externalizing our power to something that is external of us as who we are. And then that's something we externalize our power to, you know. It's not something that you can really you know, use your well, you can use the free will to make the choice of yes or no, but then after that it's like, well, it's not fully in your control, right? You as a being the creator of your reality, because it's something that is foreign, right? So this is another opportunity of like us being presented of something which you think it's going to set us free and liberate ourselves, but it's again it's coming from someone else. It's the same thing like I mentioned last time. If somebody tells you that I give you the freedom if you do something, and I tell you what it is you have to do, then what kind of freedom is that? It's conditioned. This is the same thing. It's just like, again, you know, I don't know if I'm putting it into words correctly, but it's the same energy. It's this devil energy, which is like, let me, you know, dangle this carrot, let me put you know, this temptation out there for you, so you can have all this, and it will set you free, it will make your life so comfortable. But you will just, again, lose the connection with yourself, because there will be something external of you, even though it might be in your brain. It will be something that is external of you, which is this innovative version of it, right? It's it's the Aquarian age version of it. It's this Uranus, like, yes, this is the next level, you know, we're going to do it this way now. but it is still not coming from inside you. And everything that these things that are being offered to humanity, everything that they can do for you, you can do for yourself. And this is literally, if we go back in time, when we look at the concept of how our ancestors became slaves to this world that we are living in at the moment, and experiencing the consequences of, which is like not to get upset at our ancestors, because we were some of them. It's not like this is your first time in rodeo. Like we play some of these roles, of the long time ago, and the choices that we had made that contributed to what we are experiencing now, because we will always experience the manifestation of our choices, right? So if you think about how people used to live hundreds of years ago, when they were so much more self-sufficient, there are certain aspects of human experience in the past ages, where people were, not as evolved, or whatever you can say, when it comes to certain information or ability to do certain things. But when it comes to certain other things, they were more advanced, because people knew how to grow food, they understood nature, they understood, the weather patterns, they understood how to make things for themselves. They were much more creative and resourceful. That's the word. They were more resourceful, right? And because of the way that world had continue to evolve, that got us to where we are now, it made us very vulnerable based on the choices we made to be more comfortable, to be more somebody else will take care of that. Somebody else will take care of that, so I can, focus on something else, and let's not worry about this. So it now created a world which again is shifting. This is not like it's set in a stone and we are all in this situation and that's it, because I know for a lot of people this is already shifting, and they are making different choices and creating different experiences for themselves. But still, majority of the world, very likely the percentage, majority of the world is fully dependent on a system, myself included, with the grocery stores, electricity, all these like providers we are fully dependent on someone else. And I'm not saying that, oh yeah, we all can have everything, we create everything for ourselves. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just using that example to help to understand people with the carrot that's being dangled in front of us now in this time and age, because the carrot looks differently, but it's the same energy, which is about you externalize your power to external authority. And of course, they're going to make the carrot very deliciously looking, right? Because we are on a last... we are about to have the last stint of Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. This is the culmination of the 15-year cycle, 16-year cycle of Pluto transiting through the sign of Capricorn as the external authority, where we know that now, because of everything that's going to be taking place this year, we'll be pushed to become our own authority, to make the choice. We all will have to make the choice this year. And just the fact that all these conjunctions with Pluto are happening under influence of Moon in Gemini, Moon in Aries and Moon in Sagittarius, and 2 out of those are mutable signs, and 1 is cardinal Aries, which is saying we going ahead. How it's gonna look like, it's up to you. Gemini and Sagittarius, depends on how you identify reality. What is your story? What do you believe, right? So we can see that throughout the centuries, people lost a lot of their autonomy because they gave a lot of power away because of the comfort and convenience and stuff, right? That, oh yeah, why would you grow your own food? There is a grocery store, and if they shut down the grocery store, or tell you that if you don't fulfill certain requirement to enter the grocery store, who cares if you're gonna go hungry, right? Like, you have a choice, right? Comply or be hungry. That's it. And now it's the same thing with these other carrots that we are presented with all this technology, where they say, well, you can make your life so easy, just to allow this foreign thing to enter your life, or to your body in this case, whatever. Is the same energy. Is the same energy which is saying, well, there is something external of you that is going to have the power over you, right? And this is all uncharted territory. I mean, nothing new under the sun, which is why so many of us are getting our red flag up, because of the Atlantean experience, our pastimes in Atlantis, where the desire to play gods and to be technologically so advanced surpassed the spiritual evolution, because the spiritual evolution is all about oneness and wholeness. It's all the Pisces, right? But in a higher frequency, which is that we are all one. You have the access to everything, which is literally what came through even in the channeled message that I just wrote before I tried to record this 3 times. Which is that you have your direct line, to everything there is. You don't need a bloody chip in your brain, which again, I know there are people myself, or there are circumstances where this can help people, with medical conditions and stuff. I mean, I am not going to comment on that because I don't know what I don't know. I'm talking about healthy individuals who just want to make their life easier or gain superpowers, like Marvel movie superpowers, because it's convenient, right? Because it's easy, because oh my god, it's so hard to get out of the chair and turn your own light on. I mean, even these days you can even ask bloody your iPhone to do it for you, right? So anyway, where are we heading with this? That's the question. What is the intention? What is the point? So this is like, yes, we see, in just like I was talking about my petty example with the weather, you look at the situation and at the face value, you can put all these adjectives in front of it and say, this is what it is, right? But then when we have the opportunity to sit with ourselves, be still and tune into our inner guidance, into our heart, and look at the situation from a different angle, then suddenly you get a completely different viewpoint. You go like, okay, but this is also this and this and this and this, and it could be also this, right? Because it's all this Gemini. Venus conjuncting Pluto under influence of Moon in Gemini. It's all about the choice. It's all about the choice, how you want to perceive the situation. There is a new phase going to be happening between Venus and Pluto, new phase conjunction tomorrow. So now Venus is culminating the 15-year cycle of conjunctions between herself and Pluto in Capricorn. Is this external authority. We know that during the new moon in Aquarius, Venus was squaring the nodes pointing to the south node in Libra, ruled by Venus, and this is all under influence of Venus being the ruler of Uranus that was squaring the moon, and it was the crisis in action. It's saying the past is coming around to dangle a carrot and say, which choice are you going to make? Are you going to give your power away again, and then someone else is calling the shots? Because even these chips are going to be controlled by something external of you. Like, yeah, we think you have a full faculty, full authority. I mean, what do I know about these things? I'm not a technical person and I'm not a scientist. I'm just saying there is something external of us that is wanting to, again, take our power back in a way that seems liberating. Just the same way as the grocery stores and all these other things that we said yes to, all of us, myself included. Like, oh yeah, I'll take that, right? Including everything else, right? But everything has a consequence. So now with these new cycles that are beginning, and this is the year that is influenced by number 8, which is the manifestation, things are manifesting very quickly, and I'm pretty sure we will see consequences of these new choices very quickly too, because we are heading into the age where we have the opportunity to become we are sovereign, we are free, but to actually have the experience of actually be really having the tangible experience of that kind of life. And that is the life that is being seeded at the moment. But together with the positive, we can see the shadow aspects of it, which is all presented to us at the same time. So what is actually going to support us going forward is to call your energy back, call your power back, and look internally. And this is why it's so important, including myself and my current experience, is to be able to be aware, and question and look at things from this multidimensional point of view, and try to understand it in its totality of what it really is, because it's not just the face value of what you see. It's not just the weather is horrible. It's not just that, oh, this is going to make my life easy and I'm going to be like a superhuman. You already are superhuman. You already are divine. You already have all these abilities, but you were not being trained and taught to master them. So that's why we think we need something external of us to make us feel this way. No, you don't. And so this, it could go into completely different direction from here. But all I'm saying is there are cycles ending and new cycles beginning simultaneously. This energy is very different. It's very different. It looks different. But at the end of the day, we are going in a direction of evolution. And what this energy is presenting us with in a shadow form is to go down the same road. There is nothing new under the sun. All these things already happened. All this technological advancement and people playing God, that all already happened. It all already happened in Atlantis. It already happened many times. Even in the the ancient civilization, Greece, Egypt, they were so advanced, right? Maybe, I don't know, I don't think they were putting chips in their brains, but there were already things that were really advanced at these times, right? That we might still not be privy to completely. There is nothing new under the sun, but we have the opportunity to create a new world for all of us based on discernment over these emotions that are being presented to us through these experiences, if we sit with them and if we look at it multidimensionality and don't just see it for the face value of what is being fed to you, what is being presented to you. And with this full moon in Virgo we'll be having next week, it will be after the Chiron North Node conjunction. And like I said, I want to talk in details into it, but the last Chiron North Node conjunction happened in 2008. That was the year when Pluto entered Capricorn. So again, a big cycle is ending, and Virgo will be illuminating that. Full moon in Virgo will be illuminating that, and Virgo is all about learning and adjusting and discerning based on the past experience, because your body remembers. There is so much being stored in us somatically, in our DNA. We remember. This is why we have a response. This is how we feel about certain situations, certain way, because we remember. Our brain might not remember, because the brain is only this life, it's only like database of what we experience. Not just this life, because obviously it's got a database of the ancestors and stuff, but it's easy to get lost into what already happened, and it, now I'm getting mangled altogether. But the brain only can perceive what it sees at the face value, because it's through the sensory experiences. But when we feel it with our entire body and we tap into our intuition and what is our heart saying to us, we can see beyond of what is just presented to us with our logical informational mind, right? That's what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if it makes any sense. But there is a difference of just I read some facts, it makes sense to me, and then it's like, okay, well, let me tune into it, and something doesn't feel right or sit right. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but this is how I feel about it, right? So I don't even know how I got to this part of the video from where I started, but this week was definitely very interesting. I feel also because of the ending of the Aquarius season, which is hard to believe, and beginning the Pisces season. And Pisces season is all about letting go of these things that lost the meaning, letting go to create space for something else, and also surrendering to the fact that, to the trust that there is something better coming, to trust that that inner knowing, the knowing that goes beyond our brain and our logic and this face value information that we are being fed or presented. And I really feel, again, I don't know, like I don't have the facts for it, but I really feel more and more people are turning inwardly for guidance, because as the world is getting so wacky and there are all these things happening, presented to us, it's just like literally people will have no other choice, just like, okay, well, let me just kind of check with myself, because this doesn't kind of add up and it makes no sense and stuff. And it's so fascinating, really. It's just so fascinating, like where this life has a potential to go, and it will go there. For some people it will go there, and for others it will go somewhere else. People will decide, people will choose their own timelines. And now the energy is being seeded. The cycles are beginning, and we know that we are not going back to how things were, and there are these unlimited options of which way do you want it to go. Where do you want to go with this energy that is being presented to us? And it all depends on every single one of us, and how well we trust ourselves about trusting this carrot external of us, right? So anyway, universe is always testing us. So this is just another, opportunity to see through the veils and go like, no, thank you. We already been there before, thousands of years ago, but the soul remembers, no, this is not what we want. And yeah, to which extent do we want to keep externalize our power to anything, right? Because everything that you need and all the guidance that you need and seeking is already within you. It's already there, right? So anyway, guys, once again, I don't know if this makes any sense, but this is where we are at, right? With all this energy that is so nebulous, like a perfume. It's here and then it's not here, and yeah, we just keep moving forward because that's all we can do. So okay, so this is what I was being given. Let's see if that will make any improvement to this video. I hope so. So life is a gift. Every moment is a gift. How you choose to spend it is up to you and your free will. The palette of human experiences there on planet Earth is incredibly vast. You came here to experience all of it. Your soul wishes to grow and evolve always, to push through the limitations and obstacles of the past, and in brackets, exactly what the ego wants to prevent and protect you from. That's why awareness is the key. Being aware and becoming more conscious of the repeating patterns of the past that the soul is creating to graduate from and push through into the next chapter of its evolutionary journey. Right now, that's where you are, and your on your collective evolutionary path. The collective is made out of individuals, therefore everybody is experiencing this pressure to change in a different way. Everybody has a choice to make. New cycles are being birthed as we speak. These planetary alignments that are happening right now are incredibly potent and incredibly telling. New cycles are being built on the top of the old ones. However, the old needs to give its space to the new. At the moment, both are coexisting at the same time, but this will be becoming less and less so the deeper we dive into the Aquarian age and Pluto's transit through Aquarius. This is the transitionary year. This is a year of choice. Which way do you choose to go depends on your connection to yourself and to your soul. How much of the old version of yourself and the past are you ready and willing to let go of? Because staying stagnant is no longer an option. The new energy is pushing through. There is no going back. So how much of life are you prepared to let in? Are you ready to choose, or do you still need to check with what everybody else is choosing and ask for their advice and suggestion? Remember, nobody knows your soul's path better than yourself, because only you are truly experiencing it. This is where the art of becoming fully present is needing to be mastered. The past is all encapsulated in the present moment. The future is being born from the present moment. It's all happening right here and right now. Your present is your gift. You can go wherever you wish to from here. The choice is always yours. Are you ready to make it? Do you trust yourself to make it? Are you ready to leave the old versions of yourself behind? They will always be part of you, but they will vacate the space for the new you to take over the wheel of your life. To create a new experience the soul is ready for. More and more souls are awakening and needing to break free from the spells and conditionings of the past. However, while things are so foggy and unclear, it's not easy to know which way to go. This is where your soul can step in and guide you forward. This is the time you were born for, and this is the time when the marriage of your human self and your soul self was always meant to happen. Okay. Okay, I had to pause because I really couldn't read this. Together, you'll never be afraid of getting together you will never feel alone again. Together you'll never be afraid of getting lost. Allow your soul to guide you wherever you always wanted to go. There is a reason why you are here, why each and every single one of you is here. You came here to go beyond your past incarnations, to resolve that which was holding you and the ones before you back and away from fully embodying one's potential. Every next generation holds a potential to go beyond. Now it is your turn. You are living in the times when everything is possible. Everything is happening and manifesting at the accelerated speed. All the outdated patterns can be resolved, healed, and integrated at the accelerated speed. So set yourself free. This is your chance to leave the past in the past, to liberate yourself from all the karmic contracts and chose the new life you are wishing to experience. You are birthing a brand new world for all the future you to experience. You are the pioneers and the engineers of the world that is wanting to be manifested. What is it going to look and feel like depends on you. So choose wisely and consciously. Be present and aware, and thus one moment becomes the next, and one step will follow another, and eventually you'll get where you are meant to go. Remember, you are never alone. The entire multiverse is at your disposal. If you need support and guidance, ask and open yourself up to receiving. Help is always available. However, don't just seek it outside of yourself, because it always exists within you. You have your own direct line to everything there is. So dial and listen. The answers will come. All you need to do is master the art of being still and present. You are eternally loved. You are part of everything there is, and all there is love. May the peace be present in your heart every single day. Okay, this is it. This is what I got. So this took us past 1 hour, unfortunately, so I'm going to sign off here. I hope that there was something valuable in this video for people, and yeah, if not, then I don't think you are watching anymore, and I will be uploading my astrological forecast at some point during the weekend. I'll see when I can record it. So I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I'll speak to you again soon. Much love, everyone. Bye for now.